And I was at a bachelorette party.
Where were you? Where was this? Was this Tea and Crumpets someplace? The Ritz-Carlton?
The place to bachelorette party at that time, early 2000s.
The only place.
The only place
Worth having a bachelorette party.
was at a club named The Right Track. Male strippers. And they had names like Mandingo and Purple Thunder. To name a few of my favorites. And I was sitting in The Right Track, and one by one, all my church friends started to pass. The church that I had exited. And all I got was a, "Hey girl, what are these? What was y'all doing at The Right Track?"
What were we doing there?
Having a great time. Throwing dollar bills is what y'all was. They was throwing dollar bills. The holy people.
If you don't know that all of your decisions are being, housed within that context of that age group, then when the cycle comes around to you about the hypocrisy or the bondage, then the option of redoing your operating system doesn't even come into question. There's just no out. It's one or the other. And the alternative option is that maybe what I believe to be true to its core, first of all, where did I get it from? Like even asking that question, where's the root of this truth? I know this is true, whatever this is, I know this is true. Let's follow it down. Where's the root to this truth? And where did I get it from? And how old was I when I made this decision that this was truth?
Yeah.
And do I need to now look at it with these fresh eyes of my grown-up self now that I've lived some life and maybe I have some kids, and now that I look at stuff different, now that I've got a different perspective, if I look at the same thing that I built my foundation on now with these eyes, would I still feel the same? And I'll tell you what, sometimes yes, most of the time, no.
No.
Because you're an adult.
Yeah. Your eyes have changed.
Your
eyes have seen too many things for you to stay the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So that's what happens with being stuck in legalism, right? And so when I'm reading this whole thing about grace and grappling with this whole grace conversation, I'm like, it's either black or white, because I have now created an entire ecosystem of safety.
Wow.
That is hinged upon this one thing that only leaves me any options, either self-righteousness, hypocrisy, or more bondage, or a little bit of both. Just to, shake it up.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
This is fascinating.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, no, because I'm not like that. So it's like interesting for you to break it down. Yeah.
We're learning
and
so
it
much.
also explains why we did not like each other at first.
Yeah.
It explains everything.
So that leads me to how we met.
We didn't.
This is how we got here.
We didn't click. Okay. Because what she is describing is what she was at that time.
Yeah.
Which I think you're being, this description is a little more harsher level than what you were. You weren't like that bad.
I was on the inside. Whoa.
Were you?
Worse.
Oh, wow.
Because I had a pious
exterior.
Pretty
cool on the outside.
I had a pious exterior.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been around a little bit.
Yeah, you were like, I'm a business manager.
Yeah.
I work with Janet Jackson. I was like, okay, she got a little something.
Yeah.
Warren G, I was going down your entertainment client list.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I mean, good for you, sis. I mean, it was like that, but we didn't connect.
No.
Because I was not legal. I was actually struggling very difficult. That whole thing is very difficult for me.
Tell me.
It's just like, I think that in the beginning of this, I described going to a Presbyterian church through the year and then going to Pentecostal holiness in the summer.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I grew up looking at legalists, or in church in the summers with, people who are very legal.
Yeah.
Legalists with the rules and everything. But I had the luxury to go home. I didn't have to live in it. It was 6 weeks in the summer, and I just, I appalled it.
You hated it.
I hated it.
Hated it.
I hated everything about you, not you, but the
everything about you.
Not you.
I hope all the bad things in the world happen to you and only you.
Judgment, the judgment and the fear and you're going to hell. And I was 8 and I remember I would come up and they'd be like, oh, you're coming up from LA, bring your little fast ways up here. I'm 8. What fast ways possible? That's why I had my little thing off the shoulder. They had me believing I was a little tiny Jezebel because I was from LA. The made up, you know what I'm saying? It was that whole and I'm like, ew, you're so icky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I had the luxury to go home and live my little Presbyterian life. Grace abounded. No one was checking on you and saying you're going to hell.
Yeah.
So I just that energy repelled me from an early age. And then I met Doc. And I didn't meet him. He didn't have a church.
Let's go.
When we met.
So, okay, time out real quick.
Okay, time out.
We came through the same ministry.
Yeah.
But she predated me.
Yeah, I was one of the OGs.
She was one of the OGs. I came later.
Yeah.
I don't know how much later. It had been through several iterations, but I don't know how much later from you.
2 or 3 years.
Okay. Which is like 200 or 300
Forever
years.
When you're in your 20s.
Yeah, and especially when you were in Doc's ministry, it was like time accelerated. It was like, it felt like longer.
Yeah, but he didn't have a church at that time.
Okay.
I was a worship leader at Church of the Harvest.
Okay.
Serving under Clarence McClendon.
Yeah.
Bishop Clarence McClendon.
Bishop McClendon.
And I was one of his praise and worship leaders for a while.
Yeah.
I don't even know the timing.
She's on that Harvest Fire CD. That's fire and anointed, right?
Yeah, let the rain of your presence fall on me. I'm not gonna do that.
You already did. You just did.
Anyway, that was those. We had a huge revival at that time, and that's where I met Doc. He came to one of the Harvest Fires because he knew a friend of mine, and that friend of mine introduced me to him, and so we were friends. He just was on fire for God. He was a prophet.
Yeah,
he prophesied into my life, and just took a peek at okay, look, there's a freer version of this gospel. If you want to know about it, come follow and hang, So we hung out together as friends, but he didn't have a church.
Okay.
I kind of was one of the ones that helped him build it.
Yeah.
In the beginning, which is why you were outside my house because I was hosting one of the meetings.
Yeah, okay.
In my house, because it's like I was like one of the first people
Founding.
to like try to help get it off the ground.
Yeah.
You know, and on Mondays, I remember that was
I came through your door.
Teaching night. Oh, that's weird. I never saw that.
Me neither.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I helped him. I was trying to help him.
Hold on.
Build it.
Because you've acknowledged me as your spiritual mother.
You are.
And I am. But you were a mother in that ministry. I came through your birth canal.
I did not feel like a mother.
Yeah, but like spiritually, like you helped birth a movement. You helped him get his ministry off the ground.
Yeah.
That's midwifery. That's mothering.
Yeah, there was a core group of us that was like, okay, let's make this thing a thing, you know?
Get out of here. I've never seen it like that before. Don't stop trying to rush past this. This is a thing.
I'm not trying to, I'm like, okay.
This is a thing.
Okay. I can't see it, I guess. I don't see it. That's why.
Okay, because, so you gave into him, right? You gave into him. You did things like volunteered your home, open it up for meetings, for him to come and minister to people and bless them, and for the Spirit of God to fall and all that kind of stuff. You sacrificed time, money, resources, effort. You prayed for him. You prayed for the endeavor, right? Yeah. So you watered, you're planting seed, you're watering, right? Ground that had not been tilled. Brand new ground that was being broken for the first time. For someone that we ultimately know was an incredible man of God, right? Yeah. But you were there at the seedling form. That is, if you consider how babies are born, you have a man and a woman usually, you know, if you do it the natural old-fashioned way, right? And they come together and they bring their elements to create life, right? That's what you and the others that were there at that time were doing. You guys were coming together as, you know, original seed and original egg, if you will, to birth and create life where there wasn't anything. Okay. Wow. Right? And so by the time we met, it was a thing. It was a doorway. He did have a ministry. I came through it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
At that time, we were in the bottom of at the Lutheran
Chapel
school.
of Peace.
Yeah, found like a place to be.
Exactly.
Set up Friday night outreach.
I was devastated from like church hurt and heartbreak, and I came through those doors. But my point that I'm highlighting is that I came through doors that existed because you helped create them. So there was a birth canal that you guys created that allowed me, and more than me, you know, to come through it. So
wow, that's beautiful.
I owe a thank you to you.
Oh,
thank you.
Wow. That's amazing. No, that's beautiful. You're welcome. Oh. You're welcome. I'm being justly rewarded. My life is great. I'm very blessed. And so I'm glad I planted every seed because they've poured back onto me and my kids. And, you know, I'm really blessed. It overwhelms me sometimes. Yeah, it does. Look, I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. No, I am. You know, and like perfect, no. Hard times, yeah. But like, I talk to other people and I'm like, oh God, you don't have any seed in the ground. That's dangerous.
Goodness.
You need angelic protection in this time because it's getting real. Yeah. You know, and at least the people in my life, I cover them. You know, co-workers, bosses, people I don't really like. Y'all, my kids, y'all, if you know me, there's a reason why your storm is being sheltered. Because I pray for you.
Let's go.
I pray for you.
Ooh, let's go.
No, I do. I pray for you.
Ooh, let's get it. Let's go.
They don't even be knowing how I pray for them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, my friend got sick the other night, and like,
oh God,
I ran over to the hospital. Everybody's hey, I'm here to pray.
Let's get it, babe.
I'm here to pray.
Let's go.
And went and lay hands on his body and declared those things that be not as though they were. So like, I'm that person in my people's life.
Let's go.
And I know that you're that person.
Yeah.
But that's because I know that's because of those seeds creeping back towards me as a as a reward, though. Like,
your harvest.
Why do you have peace? Why do you have joy? There's like really bad things happening, and I'm like, man, there's a garden in my heart, and it's in full bloom. And I'm not gonna pretend to be sad because you are. I'm gonna try to show you the way to beauty and peace in life.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? To beauty, peace, and life. You know, it's possible. I think people need to know it's possible. And so you're doing a really good job at outlining the path.
Me?
So
yeah.
When we met, I was helping him build his ministry. But as you said earlier, whenever you get baby Christians together to do something, there's
polish it.
There used to be a lot of shit thrown around. You got pretty shitty, you know? And to your point, fear helps to corral the team. And so that, I mean, and I would never talk back down about our father, but at that point in his ministry, he was figuring
young.
It out.
He was a young minister.
He was young. And so
you make mistakes as you go.
Pendulum slowly swang to very legal.
Oh yeah.
Even in our house.
Yeah.
And
that was his blueprint and pattern though, because he came out of Kojic.
Yeah. He's Kojic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Church of God in Christ for those.
Yeah.
Who
He
don't
had
know.
a very liberty message.
Yeah. But that came.
But it came later. And at that time, I was being hoochie in these streets. I mean, let's just keep it 100. You're not my only good friend. And my other friends is
out here partying.
Yeah.
Having a good time.
Oh, we've had a great time. Oh, yeah. LA has seen us, okay? We have lived our lives, okay? At that time, I was a worship team member, but I was also like, what we doing on Fridays?
You're one of those, they be like, them Christians that go out on Saturday night and then they just roll in on Sunday morning wearing the same clothes that they wore to the club the night before.
And that's exactly the vibe I would get a lot from a lot of people. And it was coming towards me. And, you know, I was young and that resulted in this like really severe condemnation. The kind of condemnation you feel where you're like, oh, wow, okay. So like, we got to break up then. Like we can't be together.
Yeah. Because
this isn't what we talked about.
Yeah.
When I felt your presence at Bible camp in 7. We didn't discuss rules and not being able to club. or drink wine.
Yeah.
Like, didn't Jesus turn water to wine? I'm confused about this rule here on line 76. Jesus made the party better.
Point of order.
Y'all put this on the list? No wine? I quit. I was like, oh.
I quit.
And me and my closest friend at the time, I don't want to give her name, but we were drinking wine and pretending like that wasn't happening. It was a huge thing.
Wow, scandal.
Wine.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like whiskey. It wasn't even brown. Like, we going to hell over grapes. Aren't grapes and vineyards in the Bible? Isn't that Christian inherent? I had so many questions about it. I was so annoyed. I was annoyed for 3 years. I was just like, but the fear had to keep coming in order to keep the train moving because it was chaos.
Yeah.
And he had other leaders that were new to leading. And, it was fear, and legalism was the way to keep it on the tracks.
Yeah.
And
the only pattern really that you see, that you would see out there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I got pregnant. While I was hosting the Monday nights, the ones that we met at.
Yeah.
I got pregnant.
Yeah.
And was, make it a plan to live in sin, and really bowed out just like that. Like, hey, I am an outcast now. I have broken all your rules. I not only drank that wine, but got drunk enough to make a baby. Okay. That's what had happened. And I remember Doc was like, he just didn't know what to do with me. I was a walking oxymoron in all the ways because
he loved you though.
We were in love. He was the best. He's like, it's okay, but you don't have to give up on God. He like trying to figure out what to do with me. But I was like young and hormonal and pregnant, and I was just like, no, I'm a sinner. I'm fallen. It's over. That whole like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. And just tapped out of it. And then I think the meeting moved to your place on Clarendon, if I'm not mistaken.
It did.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So I birthed and then,
Passed the baby.
But I was done. Church, I was finished. Church was churchy. And I needed to move on with my life. Mm-hmm. That's what I felt. Mm-hmm. And so at that time, I was gone for like 2 or 3 years while you took over the building and helped him build from there.
Yeah.
And
okay.
You guys really grew at that time, I believe.
Yeah. I think that when I got there was 10 chairs in the basement of the Chapel of Peace. There was like these pink doors. They were like Pepto-Bismol pink.
Yeah, they were.
But you walked through those doors and it was like pure glory.
Yeah.
Like,
and by the time I came back, there were at least 30 chairs.
Yeah.
So you guys had really expanded it. And this message that you're preaching today was birthed in that room. This message of liberty was birthed in that room while I was gone.
Wow. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. So, so in the interim, those 2 to 3 years, the crazy thing, you'd skipped over our original conversation, the exit interview.
Oh, the exit interview. And this is how we met. Like, there had been a passing high and by. I was, giving her the once over.
I was all broken. I was like, I've been rejected.
And she's self-righteous, got it all together, legalist. And we were cool with each other, but
cordial.
Like, we were cordial.
We never had a conversation.
Mm-mm. And I am the existing mother, and I get pregnant. I get pregnant and fall into condemnation.
But nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Right. And I had just been put in leadership.
Yep.
I had just been put in leadership, and my very first act was to have her exit interview.
Come talk to me about why I left. That's how we met. The first of this happened because This legalist had been exalted to a throne. And this sinner, not saved by grace.
You were like, this proves my point.
Walked out of church pregnant. And I was like, sure, let's talk. And
the worst.
I was the worst.
The worst.
This had not been cultivated at all.
She was looking me up and down like this. It was neck roll.
I think the conversation started with like, hey, look, I already know what I did. I understand what the rules are. I'm not finna abide by them. I'm out here living my life. Me and are gonna be good. We about to have our baby. We about to move in together. But look, I'm not really trying to hear what you're talking about. I already know what it is. I'm falling.
You didn't say any of that. That's not how it happened.
What did I say?
It happened. You were like, I'm just leaving because I want to live my life. That's all you said.
Well, but I just told you everything that was in my heart. If that's all I said, fine. But that was what was in my heart. You wasting your time. You wasting all your time. But okay, so.
Gave me a word. You were like, you're wasting your time, but you were getting ready to leave. I was like, okay. And I was trying to be churchy because I was a legalist, right? I was like let me find a way to fix this. You know, she was like, fix what?
That sounds like me.
The old you.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he gave me a word. He was like, you know, be careful, something like that, because you're going to end up pregnant. And he was like, tell he's too late, because I just found out.
Oh, gave me a word, yeah. Because he saw that I was going to get pregnant. This is what happens when you got friends who are prophets. They be giving you a heads up. And you go to the club that night anyway. Oh, well. Okay.
Yeah.
Here.
We love her. We've loved her from the very
happened.
beginning.
That's right. He gave me a word, and so I said, oh, yeah.
It's too late. Yeah, right? But you left, but I had now it makes more sense. Now after this epiphany about coming through your spiritual door, it makes more sense why after you left, I would call you.
You called me like pretty frequently, and so did
that all the time anyway.
With everyone.
I never did that with anyone.
Really?
No.
I thought this was in your legalistic book. In your little legal book. I called March 29th.
That's how she used to answer the call too. That's how she used to answer the call too.
I'm for this, Jesus. Like, that's the vibe I got. I'm like, she is ticking me off in a journal.
No, I was never that person. I never called people. I was like an introvert. So I would never do that. But I'd be doing whatever. I'd be driving, like it happened when I was driving to work, or I'd be doing dishes or just something random. And I would get this sudden urge that I needed to reach out and call you, right? And it was weird because we didn't have a relationship.
Just like, that one talk.
That
didn't go well.
That did not go well.
It didn't go good. It didn't go good because my disposition never changed.
Yeah, no, you were not having it.
No.
But I kept calling you because I felt compelled to, but I never called. Like, I've never been a caller. People, sorry, it's true. Never been a caller, but that tether was there, and now I can see why. Through the portal that you created.
Oh, wow.
By partnering with Doc.
Oh, wow.
To start his ministry.
Wow. Profound.
I was tied to you.
Interesting. Well, you know what you did on those calls, though, is that while I was gone, Doc was chewing up through this and getting this revelation about the liberty that is in Christ.
Exactly.
Which is what you're preaching
exactly.
now. And you would funnel bits and pieces of that on those phone calls. to let me know that the ministry was evolving.
Ah.
You and a few other people did that.
Uh-huh.
And so I knew what was going on a peripheral way. Like I had heard he preached a message with a beer.
Yeah. Sucking back suds.
He put a light, I think it was like a light
Scandalous.
beer. No, it was a light beer.
Scandalous.
And he put it up on the altar and while he was preaching.
We all fainted.
Freaked out.
Oh my God.
So I'd heard those stories.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing, I like to keep a hold of the tea. I like to keep a hold of the tea. So I'll sip here and there. And so, while I think that's how we kind of had a relationship based on you checking in on me to see if I was ready to pull my life back together. And then me asking you what was happening. And then you would tell me what was going on, which honestly, God is why I came back, because y'all started really walking the talk. Like the legalism began to fall.
Yeah.
And, I think the beer and wine was suddenly allowed.
Your favorite? Wine?
Wine is back? Okay. I might reconsider this. And I think it was the that were getting married.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
And had a bachelorette party.
I
hadn't seen any of you in months.
Yeah.
It had been a while. But I think, of course, you checked in and we talked. And I so too happened to be going to my friend's, who's like a junior high childhood friend of mine. She was getting married right around the time.
Yeah.
And I was at a bachelorette party.
Where were you? Where was this? Was this Tea and Crumpets someplace? The Ritz-Carlton?
Well, there were coinciding bachelorette parties.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And my friend.
Yeah.
And at that time.
Did you know this?
I didn't. No, I didn't know them then at all.
Yeah.
Really. And so the place to bachelorette party at that time, early 2000s.
The only place worth having a bachelorette party
was at a club named The Right Track, a strip club, male strippers. And they had names like Mandingo and Purple Thunder, to name a few of my favorites. And that's where we bachelorette. And I pulled up in a limo with my friend, and I was sitting in the right track. And one by one, all my church friends started to pass. The church that I had exited. And all I got was a, "Hey, girl, what are these
saved, sanctified
people doing
filled with the Holy Ghost and power"?
What was y'all doing at the right track?
What were we doing there?
Having a great time. Throwing dollar bills is what y'all was. They was throwing dollar bills. The holy people. Throwing dollar bills.
We were.
Walking the walk. I was they're for
ordering
real about not being religious.
Yeah.
What I mean, I just
happened?
was really surprised to see you specifically. There were other people where I was like, she be at the right track. And she was just, but you? No.
She was sitting over like this.
I was shocked. I didn't even know y'all knew what that was. Who told you what it was?
I had a whole life before I got saved, so I knew what it was. But what had happened in the interim is that Doc started getting revelation about how the way that the Bible is taught so what had happened was he was supposed to be like the next heir apparent to take the one of the head and lead roles in this denomination, right?
A very popular LA denomination. His family was like legacy to that
Right.
Sect of religion.
Right.
Here in the, yeah.
And so he'd been, you know,
being prepared
a prodigy, from a child. He was, you know, a theologian and a Bible memorizer, and like deep mysteries and revelation and prophecy and fivefold ministry and healings and miracles and like all the whole 9 yards, right? From like growing up from a kid on. And he was supposed to be the next heir apparent to take a leadership role in the greater denomination. And he had an encounter with the Lord, and the Lord told him that he could go that way, but that if he did, that there would be things that he would never be able to talk with him about. And it's because of the structure of that denomination and, you know, what they've agreed to believe is true and what they've agreed to believe is not true. And that automatically, you know, excludes some expression of who God is, because you've already said that cannot be God, because it doesn't fit within this little box right here, you know, this little lane right here. And so he was a God chaser.
He really was.
Yeah.
And even though he hadn't gone all the way into the liberty message at the point where we met, he was still like teaching groundbreaking things about the Bible.
Yeah.
Like that the Old Testament is prophesying the New Testament.
Let's get it.
These wonderful, he was a theologian.
Yeah.
You know, and really if you loved God, you wanted to know more. He was an amazing teacher.
Yeah, absolutely.
Incredible teacher.
Absolutely. Break it all the way down, make it all the way digestible, and just unlock like celestial truths. And you're like, where'd you get that from?
Right.
And you're like, but truth ringing true on the inside of you, so you're like, I know that this is true, you know, and then backing it up, because then you can back it up in the scriptures. It was always line upon line.
He was a theologian. It was like, oh, you need scriptural backup, here it is, line
upon line, precept upon precept.
You
know? So it was like he was getting more challenged by God in the interim while you were gone. More challenged to push the envelope. To your point, it was like, you know, all of these rules that are man-made that the church is preaching, that God is saying and God is requiring, and it's causing people to hurt. It's causing people to be hurt.
Church hurt. Yeah.
It's causing people to feel far away from God when God's trying to draw them closer to him, you know. It makes them feel excluded and like they have to jump through a whole bunch of hoops and all this stuff. And it's all things that are being interpreted for them, you know, in such a way as to skew the image of God into that kind of likeness, which is hard to take and hard to want to live up to, and you're just like, never mind. And he's like, but it's not even what it says. And then this other thing too was that people don't read.
No.
They don't read and study for themselves.
No.
And so they're just taking what somebody's saying and that's coming through whatever hurts that person has, or whatever perspective that person has based upon their life experiences, which may have had challenges, you know.
I hear something that he was a healer of church hurt.
Yeah. Because
all of us came broken by these places, situations, and he just give you the word. And it was always a foundation of love.
Yeah.
Like, hey, the most important thing for you to know is that God loves you.
Yeah.
And like, then we can go from there.
Yeah.
But you need to know that first.
That's
everything you ministered in the beginning. You know, it's like, we got to start there. You're not going to believe anything else I say, because everything else I say is super good.
Yeah, and it's built on this foundation that keeps getting built and keeps getting built. Yeah, you're right.
Totally.
That was him all the way through, from when I met him all the way through.
Yeah.
And so he started getting more challenged. It's like, okay, well, if you really believe that I'm saying that I accept people, at the time, drinking was a big thing. I think it maybe still is. Drinking was a big thing, or smoking was a big thing. It's like, these are no-nos that get you an express pass to hell. You know what I mean? It's like, but I never said that. You can't find that anywhere in the Bible. You know, and it's like, even the scriptures that have been used to undergird it are,
talking about
something else and like twisted. That's why I was talking earlier about getting in the concordance.
The Hebrew, the Greek.
Because then you're like, so this, what
figure
does
out
it
what
really
it really
say?
says.
Yeah, because then you're like, it doesn't say anything at all about that.
Cigarettes.
Nothing. Nothing. They weren't even invented then. You know what I mean? But it's preached as if, thus saith God, and you're like, God's a downer. He's party pooper, like, well, never mind, I'm good,
Yeah.
And it's not that at all. And so these challenges would come like to push the envelope, and at the same time, he was taking off this cloak of legalism he had donned and put on.
I mean, we all were. Because again, we were young, and even though he was the leader, he was still growing and maturing himself.
Yeah. Facts.
We were the same age. So it's like, oh, I know. It's like, that's why I wanted to help. Because I'm like, this person is special, has something, and I've always been like a builder. So it's like I wanted to help him build. But it was a revelation, and it shook LA in the church scene.
I don't think I even really knew
because did, and I mean, people kept it pretty quiet. You weren't supposed to talk about it, but we were a tiny group that was doing revolutionary stuff at the time.
Stuff.
Which I mean, I hope we're still not tripping over wine. We're not. We've come a long ways.
I don't know. Are we?
Security.
We might need security.
It's fine.
In the title. Right there.
But that message starts, once you see it and get it in your heart, it starts unlocking, and this is why I came back. Mm-hmm. It unlocked God's love towards me, which was locked up in this chest of condemnation.
Yeah.
And it also gave me something that I knew to be fundamentally true, is that he loves us.
Yeah.
And he doesn't just love me, he loves us.
Yeah.
Like, the legalism makes it all about you.
Get it?
You know what I mean? And like, no. But like, there's a whole world out here.
Yeah.
And if all these rules, everyone has to do this, the love can't get to them. It's just like this fundamental, like, simple thing.
And then that makes it, if that's God's agenda, which it is, that makes you working against God.
Right.
And you think you're working for God. And honestly, real talk,
in the best intentions.
That's how Paul was. You know what I mean? It was like,
with the best intentions.
Yeah, but still
harmful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was on the forefront of trying to do something about that.
Yeah.
Which is why, it's one of the reasons I loved him.
Yeah.
It was a worthy cause.
It was. It saved a lot of people.
Look at where we are now. And it's like, wow, I just know that this ground that he's tilled has to come up in a harvest.
Yeah.
And you're right. It has to happen soon because we are just
bursting over
with this new wave of legalism that now has so many other isms attached to it.
Yeah.
Racism, sexism. I mean, like, all the isms you could think of that are bad.
Yeah.
Are now attached to the American church.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that scripture about the when you cast out a devil and it goes out in dry places looking for a new home and doesn't find one, and it decides to go back to its original house to see if maybe it can move back in. And when it gets back to that house, then it finds it clean and swept but empty.
Oh, wow.
Right? And he's like, oh, I can bring 7 more with me, more wicked than the original one. And they move into this house, and the Bible says that the end of that house was worse than the beginning of that house. That sounds like what you're describing right now.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You drive one thing out, but you don't replace it with anything that keeps it occupied, so it becomes contaminated with 7 more wicked, all the stuff attached to it.
That's revelation.
It made me think of that.
Yeah, I mean, the state of things are I think the reason why we're having this conversation today. It's like, yes, we've been talking about friendship, we've talked about sisterhood, we've talked about, there's a lot of things on the table, but on a bigger issue, people need to know our perspective on faith.
It seems like it.
It feels like that's what we're doing here.
We didn't even know this was
we
gonna
wandered
be the
into
conversation
this.
today.
I was like, whoa, is this what we're doing?
Yeah, I know.
We had a little break. I was like, girl,
Yeah.
we good to do this?
I'm like, I don't know. We're just floating
We're just
around.
going. But I think that's, people need to know where we stand, because,
That's
it's
fair.
like, oh, the podcast is on faith, but okay, so, and then immediately everyone wants to know, okay, what's your denomination?
What's your background?
Who you affiliated with,
Yeah.
who you come out of, and it's like, okay, you want to know your whole DNA, we just told it to you. And
Wow.
you get to decide if you want to keep watching.
I love
Because
her.
we shouldn't just be bamboozling you and thinking that we're just, some normal hood rats out here on the street. That's not what this is.
That's why it's named what it's named.
That's why it's named what it's named.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm really happy that we dug into this. The origin story.
It's big. It's a big topic. We're probably going to delve into it more and more because
I hope so.
it's a big topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to say there.
Yeah.
And I mean, you'll see it trickling into all of our conversations.
Yeah.
This is the reason why there might be wine. The only reason why there isn't is because it's early.
We started
She
early today.
wouldn't let me drink it.
We needed coffee.
Start time. But yeah, so I think it's important to, this is really important, not only as a set point for who we are, and just so that you can know how we met and where we come from. I think it's also important for, just coming out of this election, and I'm sure when this is recorded, there'll be a decision one way or the other. I think I want to just say that no matter how things shake out, there's a creator.
Let's go.
That's higher than governments.
Let's get it.
And he loves you.
Yeah.
And everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I know that's a little shallow, but I want to say that. 'cause
No, it's not shallow.
This is such a beautiful flow. If people
Yeah.
can see it and hold on to it,
Yeah.
it can set them free.
It's not shallow at all. I mean, the need and desire for peace and safety, and not having it. And honestly, the whole world's watching this election. Like I told you, we started here. We've been bouncing around for months. The whole world's watching this election.
I know.
And so whatever way it shakes out, and by the time this airs, it'll have shaken out one way or another. Everybody's watching it, and everyone's paying attention to it. And the basic need for peace and safety is a universal human desire and need.
Absolutely.
And requirement.
Yeah.
And so however this shakes out, someone's going to feel unsafe.
On one of the sides, or both sides.
Yeah, someone's going to feel unsafe.
Yeah.
And beyond, to her point, beyond whoever is going to ascend into the next presidency of this country, the United States, that we're aware that there is a love that is flowing to us, through us, for us, that supersedes any man-made authority, any man-made ability to, make you have a good life or make you have, the advantages that will lead you into peace and safety, you know? That becomes more critical when governments fall. You know? To know that God loves you and that when you pray, you're heard. And when you're heard, that the answer for the thing that you're asking for is on its way to you. You know, and that the more that we can encourage one another towards faith, the more that we can encourage one another towards believing that God desires the best for us and desires to be a force in our lives that demonstrates and releases actual change, actual power, actual miracles, you know, signs and wonders. Like, you don't need great light until there's great darkness. That's when the light shows up the brightest. I had a bath this morning. I took a morning bath today because I believe in morning baths, because it's not about getting clean, it's about getting peace, right? Morning bath this morning, and I lit 2 candles. It was before dawn, right? And I was like, oh, it's like this whole vibe, and you know, it's sunrise, pre-sunrise, and candles, you know. And then I was like, oh, I'm in the bathtub, and it's like the light's so bright from these 2 candles. I'm like, let me blow one out. And I blew one out, and it was better. It was like more calming and relaxing. But then it was still very bright, and I was like, wow, that one candle is lighting up this whole bathroom to the point where it's distracting from the bath that I'm trying to take. And it made me think about how one candle, one light, it seems like one person, one light would not be enough to illuminate.
Light a whole room.
To light a whole room. And it's not true. One light can light a whole room.
Come on, preach a message.
I'm just saying.
It's Sunday morning.
Morning bath preaches itself is what I'm saying.
It's Sunday morning. Let them use you.
You know, one light can and does make a huge difference. And it's fantastic when you can have multiple lights. Like, the more the merrier. We got candles all over the place around this piece, right? But even if there's not multiple lights, one light can make a great, great, great difference. And believing that there is a creator of your soul, a lover of your soul, who is the source of light and the source of love, that never takes his mind or his eye off of you. You know, good times and bad times. And especially you need to know that in the bad times, you know. It's a game changer, and it'll be exactly the kind of footholds that you need to bring you out of a dark day.
Wow.
Thrills.
Beautiful.
I mean, you alley-ooped it.
I do that. That's my job. I feel good. Does that feel good? A good stopping point for us?
I think so.
You guys okay? I hope you are. We had such a good time today. I had a great time.
I did too.
I like being here with you in person.
Not a pixel.
Not a pixel. So yeah, we might need security. And now you know why. I hope that you come back and join Dr. Samantha, Sarah Ann, and Elizabeth Danielle Nathan.
The extraordinary.
I hope you come back and join us on all the platforms soon. Yeah. As we drop our next episode. Also, please don't ever forget to look into the comments and pre-order Dr. Samantha's book. Yeah. It is Finding Your Glow, and it'll be available soon, but you have to pre-order it.
Yeah. So, by the time this airs, though, there might not be a pre-order link. It might just be an order link. Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Let's do it.
That's exciting.
I know.
I didn't know it'd be that soon. Okay,
yeah.
great.
I mean, you never know.
Either way, don't forget to click that link and subscribe if you want to see us again, and like if you want to share it with your peoples.
Yeah. Thank you for joining the conversation. Yeah. Thank you for all the new stuff I learned about you today.
We always dig so deep, and I'm like,
years, and I
was all my business is about to be on the internet. Did not agree to this.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I love you.
I love you too.
I'm so glad we're in the same room.
It's good.
It's a treat.
Yeah. Okay, we gotta go drink brown things.
Well, make sure you kiss your people today.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.